Hey bitches, welcome to episode 51 of Roll for Girl Dinner, where we let the dice answer the age-old question, what should we have for dinner? Today we'll be using these dice. These are my dice. I call them girl dice. Now let's get started with a roll for protein. 3 chicken nuggets. Today we'll be using these yummy dino buddies, which sounds like an odd thing to call something that you're about to eat. Hey there buddies, I hope you enjoy being digested. Next up, let's roll for some cheese. 2 pepper jack. Today we'll be using Tillamook pepper jack. I've never had this particular kind before, but I trust all things Tillamook. Now it's time to roll for some vegetables. That's an 8 for cherry tomatoes and a 9 for cauliflower. I'm starting to feel like this is going to turn into some iteration of odd dino chicken parm, but I'm not sure how yet. Moving on to the roll for carrier. 5 Spam. Okay, so maybe not makeshift chicken parm anymore. I'm not really sure what this is gonna be. Now let's roll for some Razzle Dazzle. That's a 4 for pistachios and a 16 for pickled jalapenos. Today we'll be using the unmarked jar on my shelf that I think is probably from Costco. And pre-shelled because I'm lazy. We'll also be using these Hatch nacho sliced jalapenos that aren't quite as spicy as I like, but this is the end of the jar, so we're using them all up. And we're definitely not being clumsy about it. Definitely. And we're definitely past the chicken parm vibes, but I'm not sure what we've got. Time to get saucy with the roll for sauce. 7 oil and vinegar. Today we'll be using Aljabal olive oil that I got here off the TikTok shop and Napa Valley Naturals balsamic vinegar. And I think we're going to just need to do something a little like this. I also plan to melt the cheese over the Spam and the chicken nuggets, but I'm going to do that just before I actually eat it so that it stays warm. Now let's wrap this up with a roll for sparkling water. 6 strawberry peach. I haven't had this flavor in quite a long time, and it's not one of my favorites, but let's see if it grows on me. Let's eat, bitches. But first, let's get our luck poured, and of course, leftover coffee. Now, I do have to say that I just don't think girl dinner will ever be quite as good when I'm not in a costume. But the sweater dress is, it's a nice second place. It's basically incognito pajamas. Now, I did think that these chicken nuggets would taste a little bit better with the pepper jack cheese on them, but it doesn't really do that much. I think maybe one of the issues here is that I didn't notice when I bought it that it says 25% less sodium, and I think it's short by roughly 25% of the sodium it should have. So anyway, let's try this weird mixture on the Spam that'll probably be way too salty. Oh, hey, look, I'm wrong for the second time today. This is really good. I didn't think this was going to be very good. I thought this was going to be one of those where I'm like, well, it's weird, I'll finish it, it's whatever, and yet this is something I'm definitely going to make again. I do think that it would benefit from spicier jalapenos because, like I said, these are kind of mild, but even so, it just works. I'm definitely glad that I thought to cut the Spam a lot thinner than I did the last time that it was a carrier, because last time it was just overbearing and far too much. But with these thin cuts, I think that it gives just the right amount of saltiness and enough structure that I can, hold stuff up with it properly, though there's way too much juice in this mixture, and honestly, I'm spilling it everywhere. It's a good thing that you can't see it. I mean, actually, what am I talking about? You literally could just see me dripping it off of my fingers. So there's that. Anyway, let's try it on its own and see how it is. It's definitely good. I don't like it as much as with the Spam. I think that the savoriness of the Spam and probably the addition of the melted cheese that kind of helps mellow out a little bit really helps it be a bit more balanced, right? This is very acidic and it needs something with it. Now, in terms of me being wrong for the third time today, I thought that this would be great on the chicken nuggets, and it really doesn't work nearly as well. I mean, 1, it's just plain hard to keep it all on the chicken nugget, but 2, the flavors just are not quite, good? They're not bad. It's still fine. It still would be, a perfectly acceptable girl dinner, but it's not the Spam. The Spam is so good. And of course, now we come to the point in the episode where I ask myself, if I were playing a character who would rate this girl dinner a perfect 10, who would I be? Allow me to introduce Alec Ravenna, a cartographer who did field work for the local guild. Throughout her career, she picked up bits of histories and myths of the locations that she visited and found ways to incorporate those into the maps that she drew. Little did she know, she was also unintentionally drawing upon bardic magic that she infused into these maps. It was subtle enough that she didn't even know she was doing it, but everyone knew there was something special about her work. On one particularly dangerous mission, she was sent out with a group of adventurers to map out an area of land that for some reason had always seemed to turn a blank when adventurers returned from attempting to map it. if they returned at all. One of the adventurers, though, did recognize her skill and helped her learn a bit more along the way. Unfortunately, the mission didn't go as planned, however. It's almost like it's predictable that if you go into an area that won't let itself be documented and leaves very few survivors, that you might find a creature powerful enough to cast said area into permanent darkness that only it and its minions can see through, and there might be consequences. Just maybe. Alec barely made it out with her life, but she made it out alone. She did, however, also make it out with a partial map of the area, and perhaps slightly less alone than she thought or would have liked. Pursued by the creatures that she had trespassed upon, she went into hiding, never knowing when they might finally catch up with her and her enchanted map fragment. If I was her, I would rate this meal a perfect 10. As it is, I, Kendra, give it a 9.
This is my meal. I call this girl dinner. Girl dinner. Girl dinner.